everyone. My name is Sastri from Have Halal Will Travel Indonesia. As a travel and lifestyle platform, Have Halal Will Travel encourage Muslims to travel all over the world despite of all religions. So one of the most important part of this mission is the availability of halal food. That's why today I want to introduce you to my friend Mustafa Kamal. He's the co-founder and CEO of the Black Hole Group, the group that I can say like literally sucks everything from a boutique hostel to a chain of restaurant, which all of them are halal certified. So there is a working title Burger Bar, and after with Burrito Bar, and Mad Sailors with the British cuisine, the Co-op, Santap, the Great Mischief that serves Catalan cuisine. And maybe some of you have tried the fresh homemade pasta in Tipo Pasta Bar. One of my friends said that it was queuing very long yesterday. So without further ado, please welcome Mustafa Kamal.
Thank you, Sastri. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Mus. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. But first of all, I want to thank you for bringing the world to Singapore. Bringing the food of the world to Singapore. So I'm looking forward for you to bring the world also to Indonesia, please. So today, my friend Mustafa will share about his experience, about the movement, about the culture of the company, right?
We'll see.
Okay, so Mustafa, please, the time is yours.
Okay. Thank you again for the introduction, Sastri. And I think I'll just take a few minutes just to introduce myself and the Black Hole Group, what we are about, and then if you have any questions to ask, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So I'm Mustafa Kamal. That's my full name. My friends and colleagues and family call me Mus. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Black Hole Group. Black Hole Group was officially incorporated in 2017, but the entire concept of the Black Hole Group actually started as early as 2012 when I first started Shophouse Hostel. If you see the second column, second row, Shophouse Hostel, that is the first business that we actually started in 2012 December. We were located on 48 Arab Street, and yeah, it was a 5-story building, so we couldn't run an F&B, or we couldn't run the hostel on the first floor. So we were kind of forced to open working title Burger Bar. So that was my first venture into F&B about 7 years ago now. 2013 working title, and
Okay. How do you start it? I mean, like, what is the main idea that when you start the working title?
actually, when we ran the hostel, it's a 5-story hostel. We had a rooftop at the top floor. So when you enter the hostel, it's like entering a different world. You know, it's like entering a different country. A lot of people tell me like that it's very hip. It feels very Australian. So when they come inside the hostel, they feel like they're in another place. And then when you come down, right, we used to run or we used to rent it out to another tenant, and we felt that the space for the hostel and the space for the F&B downstairs didn't go. So I decided to take the space back and run just a small, simple F&B operation for the guests, mainly to serve the guests for breakfast and serve coffee and burgers and sandwiches. And then in 2013, I think that picked up. Sorry, the media picked it up, and then a lot of people started coming to Working Title. We had a very short time to create Working Title, and that's why the name is Working Title. We had the keys were given to us 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks we had to conceptualize something that is workable. And so Working Title came about. Working Title came from a business plan, and then we didn't know the title of the business plan, so we just put Working Title. In the end, when the cafe was supposed to run, we thought like, what the heck, just put it as Working Title then. So
that explains everything.
yeah. So when Working Title came about, it wasn't really a burger bar. It's more like a very chilled out cafe, very very hip cafe that we sold like burgers, sandwiches, rosti, and everything was made quite simple until things got serious. We realized that people really like coming to Working Title to chill out, more the vibe and the ambience more than anything else. But from a business perspective, I think it was going to be quite challenging to survive on just selling coffee and sandwiches. So we did a bit of data analysis and we found that actually in our menu there's one burger that we sell. It's called the one and only burger that we have. And then we realized, hey, maybe I think there's a market for burgers, for good quality burgers. So from that one and only burger that we have, that's the actual name, by the way. From the one and only burger that we have, we expanded to a range of burgers. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then eventually we said, hey, let's tighten up our direction and call it a burger bar. And hence, Working Title Burger Bar was born. And it's still running until today. Not at the same location, though. We shifted to North Bridge Road. And a few years down the road, not even a few years. The very next year, I think we opened after it. It started out as a Mexican taqueria, and then a year later we opened the Mac Sailors on Haji Lane. It's British inspired cuisine. And by then, I think I realized that maybe it's a bit easier to expand on the concepts of F&B as opposed to hostels. The initial outlay to run a hostel is very, very high, and I think the expansion rate would have been a lot slower. So we decided F&B was the right route for us. So we embarked on a quicker expansion for F&B with the Co-op, the Tipo, Stack, the Great Mischief, Catalan-inspired food. We had Santap, and now we are working on a great concept. Yeah, I think I get that quite a lot. Like people always ask me like, why don't you work on one brand and then expand Working Title? Like let's say we have a good concept for Working Title, so expand 2 or 3 more in Singapore and then 2 or 3 more regionally. But at that point in time, I wasn't while I was running a business, but I wasn't really in for the money. Or to make profits or to be a successful businessman per se. I was in it for the fun of it, for the fun of creating new concepts, for the fun of traveling around the world, of course using the HHWT app, traveling around the world to look for inspiration and coming back to Singapore and say like, what is it that we are lacking in Singapore? What is it that the people of Singapore don't have access to, and trying to recreate a cuisine that is popular around the world, but bringing it to Singapore and looking at the cuisine through the eyes of a Singaporean. Huge demand for halal food in Singapore, but I think the variation of food still has a long way to go in terms of the halal, specifically the halal industry in Singapore. We still have some way to go, but I think the things have been moving really quite fast. Like if you go back 10 to 15 years, halal food would have been traditional Malay food, traditional Malay kueh, maybe your Indian shop selling local Indian food, and then we transited towards more steak and Western dishes. So in terms of concept, I think we are pretty new in Singapore, and we still have some way to go.
Okay, so do you have any plan like to expand like internationally or regionally?
Yes, actually. So based on the question that I answered earlier, like why did we focus on expanding so many concepts instead of replicating them, which would have been the much easier thing to do. Like I think, like I mentioned, I think I wasn't so profit driven. The whole idea was to build an ecosystem that benefits the group, benefit the people in the group and the family members of the people working in the group, and obviously the people that patronize our concepts. But I think with the situation of COVID and circuit breaker, I think we had some time to reflect, and moving forward, we have a clearer 5 to 10 year roadmap or strategy, and I think we have our sights set on at least the Southeast Asian region, if not the APAC region. So now we are embarking on a study and shortlisting countries that we would like to explore moving into. Yeah.
Okay, well, what is the first country that came up in your mind?
To be really honest, in the past couple of years, we've explored expansion into Thailand, into Bangkok, and
Oh,
just as recent as last November, we were exploring a move into Australia.
mhm. So
Yeah,
what kind of concept there that you established in Australia?
but that's we don't know exactly yet because a few of the concepts are quite strong actually, and one concept that works in Singapore might not work in Indonesia. Maybe it takes a bit harder work to introduce a new concept into a country. So I think a lot of market research is due. But I think we're looking. Actually, I'm looking at all the concepts. I'm looking to replicate all the concepts across the region, but one step at a time.
Mm,
Yeah. So in recent years, we were looking at Thailand, we were looking at Australia, and then I think moving forward, we are very interested in moving to Indonesia and to South Korea.
mm,
Yeah, so these are
okay.
some of the countries that I listed. But of course, I think to make the study fair, we are studying all other countries as well, like Malaysia, we are studying Vietnam and Laos, we are also studying Japan and Saudi Arabia. Uh, but at the end, I think we have to pick and choose which battle to fight. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So now I'm curious about the next slides. Can you please go on with your next slide?
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to introduce at least my management team. So I think it's yeah. Well, I'm the one speaking and representing the Black Hole Group. I think more importantly, I think I have a brilliant management team behind me, and I have a team of very talented individuals across the Black Hole Group. So as of today, across 6 operational concepts, we have over 10 brands. We have over 100 people working for the Black Hole Group in the Black Hole Group, and yeah, I don't know. I think very talented individuals, and I don't know how I'll make it without them. Yeah. So I think you can see my management team. The pictures, I can't put 100 pictures inside. Maybe next time I can, but for now we have this. There's 11. I didn't manage to put one in, but these are the individuals in my management team. So on the top left is myself. Beside me is Kelvin Sia. He's the CFO of the company. He manages the finance across the group. Beside is Sufi. He's the COO. He oversees the operations across the group. And beside is the brand manager, Haley. She oversees all the social media and the branding and marketing of the group. And then on the right, we have Vivian, Madam Vivian So. She's the head of learning and development. So she's responsible of the for the training and the development of the individuals in the group. And then on the right we have Chef Fadzil. Below Chef Fadzil we have Chef Guy. He comes all the way from Brazil. And then on the left we have our corporate chef, Chef Sazali. And then we have ops planning, Shaz, Sufyan, ops manager, Fadil, who assists and handles the finances across the group, and Zarifa, who oversees human resources. Yeah, so this is the team working with me, and I honestly don't know what I'll do without them.
So
Yeah,
you hired like talented individuals from different backgrounds, right? What is the main important thing that they should have, like for each individual?
a lot with them. We have the Wright brothers, who took flight in I think 1903, or was it 1907? Without a degree, without a team, without funding from the government, without engineers, without a proper garage, and they were the first people to take flight. And I always tell my team that actually I think we can have the most talented people in the group, but if we are not aligned in our vision or motivated to achieve something together, I think we'll never achieve it. But on the contrary, what I feel we have is a chemistry and alignment of vision, and that really helps to propel our group forward. At the end of the day, even with all the talent in the world, I don't think you can achieve. I don't think. Oh, even with all the talent and intelligence in the world, I think it's going to be very hard to put a team of people together to achieve something. So we always joke that all that matters is that I believe in you, you believe in me, you believe in you, and I believe in me, and then we'll make it happen. Yeah. So we are creating a Black Hole Group BMT, where every staff that comes in will go through undergo a training program, such that they after the training program they'll be ready to be a part of the Black Hole. But yeah, in terms of recruitment, I think we are quite particular about not so much the competency or the talent or the potential of the person, but rather the passion and the characteristic of the person, whether this person fits in our group and whether we can get along with this person, and his vision aligns with our vision. So I just wanted to share a little bit more about our philosophy at the Black Hole Group. I was telling you that before in the past. Okay, so anyway, the Black Hole Group, we've operated for 7 years, and in 7 years we've built all of these brands and all of these people in the group, and we've come to a stage where we and quite timely as well with the circuit breaker, we were forced to take a step back, relax, and okay, what's next? What's happened? What's transpired in the past 7 years? Because everything happened so quickly, and this year is a good year for us to take a breather and just reflect what happened in the past 7 years and what are we going to do in the next 7 years. So we are embarking on a lot of study, a lot of reflection, a lot of dialogue within the management team, a lot of road mapping to see the direction that we want to go. So as I mentioned earlier, I think in the past 7 years, the focus was not so much on making a lot of money and franchising and expanding so quickly. It's more about brand building, creating concepts, experimenting, getting to know one another, creating an ecosystem. But while all this sound really really fun, right? But the truth be told, I think there were some very difficult moments for me where I was running the Black Hole Group and building the brand and trying to do the best that I can for the group, for the companies, and for the people. But sometimes it's really difficult to run a group. It can feel quite lonely because while you are helming the company and leading the company to a certain direction, you kind of you can get a bit deluded, thinking, am I doing the right thing? Are we expanding too fast? Why are the customers complaining that the food is not good? Why is the customer complaining that the food is not served fast enough? How come my own staff and my colleagues are angry at me? While you think that you are not achieving anything, but what you are achieving is you are providing a platform to provide jobs for people, to provide a future for people, and you don't see it, but spiritually speaking, that's how the barakah flows, the blessings, the barakah flows within the company. So you may not earn the money. You may not benefit in terms of earning a lot of money, but you benefit by creating an ecosystem, and the barakah continues to flow in and out and in and out. And we're talking about millions of dollars. So yeah, then I went out after I thanked him and I went out, and I felt rejuvenated for my purpose. That when you run a business, you are not just responsible for earning money. You're actually responsible for an ecosystem. And since then, I've never looked back. I've looked at how I run the Black Hole Group, and it's always about the why first. Why does the Black Hole Group exist? It's never been about the concept first, we want to do Brazilian because I love Brazilian food or Mexican food. Yeah, the love for that is there, but these trends, they come and go. Customer demands and trends, they come and go, but the why for me will always remain. And the why for the Black Hole Group is to create an ecosystem that benefits. Every single person in the organization, and to the second degree and the third degree, that means their family members and their friends, and then the customers, and eventually, I think down the line, we want to give back to the community and the society in terms of education grants and bursaries and scholarships. Yeah, so I think that the why remains there, and the what for me is just the means to achieve the why, and to experiment and to have fun. It could be Indonesian cuisine, it could be Brazilian cuisine, it could be Peruvian or I don't know, Belgian cuisine, you name it. I think we're happy to experiment all of it via our travels and exploration, but it all has to go back to the why we exist.
Yeah, it's to create the ecosystem that benefits to give back to the community.
Yes,
Wow.
that
Mm-hmm.
that's the why. Yeah. So anything that we do, everything that we hire, every decision that we make, we will try to link it back to the why. And if it doesn't make sense, and if it doesn't contribute to benefiting the ecosystem, then we will like say, okay, maybe we don't see it now. Let's put it aside. Let's explore it for a future time. Yeah. But every decision we make got to go back to benefiting the society, to first and foremost all people.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a plan to expand this internationally, you will also have this ecosystem abroad, right?
Yes, correct. In fact, I think interestingly, like that's how we work. I am not sharing it today, but if you look at if you have a chance to look at my company structure, it's not that typical company structure where there's at the top CEO and then like at the bottom. It's more like a drawing of painting of an ecosystem of who's where and what do we do, and it's very dynamic that we can move around. Yeah. So
Mhm.
anyway, my just to share my vision for the group, it's to, and it's a very, I think it's quite a lofty ambition, but it is after all a vision, right? So we've condensed it to a very short, just a few words. Black Hole Group, we aspire to be a world-class lifestyle movement. So if you break it down, there's three components: world-class, lifestyle, and movement. Right now, if you look at our brands, it's more F&B brands. But I didn't want to limit to F&B because, like I said, the F&B is the how, and the how we're going to achieve it, and via what cuisine, but how it could be via merchandise, it could be via an academy, it could be via workshops, and the what could be Mexican food, could be Brazilian food. So I didn't want to limit to F&B. It's more lifestyle. In any case, eating and drinking is part of lifestyle, right? And then the first part is world class. I feel like it's important to define the term world class. World class, I think it doesn't have to be that you have 100 or 200 or 300 outlets across the world, or you have to be a chain. I think world class is more in the mindset, of the people that you can have one small shop with just 10-seater or just selling one product, but it's more in the mindset of thinking that this product is good enough for the world to see. And if you see a lot of like Michelin star restaurants like Noma or Jiro's restaurant in I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jiro's restaurant in Tokyo, I'm not wrong. It's just a 10-seater restaurant, but it's worldwide famous, and people from all over the world come to Jiro in Tokyo to try out his sushis. So I think world class is more in the mindset. And again, like I said, that we want to create a movement. We don't see ourselves as just a profit making company. We see ourselves as an ecosystem that will benefit. So it's gonna be more than just a company that makes money. It's gonna be a movement. And we aim to be a thought leader in the industry.
Because before this session, I had some research about you, and I found that I read your website, the Black Hole Group websites, and I just thought that it was like, oh, okay, this is a few establishment, and there are hotels also, and you have like halal certified restaurant, and that's it. But actually, it is way more than that, right? So today I'm learning something new, that this Black Hole Group is quite an ecosystem that empowers others around it. So
It's try to suck people in.
To suck people in, so that's why the name is Black Hole Group.
Yes, that's right. Actually, to go back 7 years, right? That's how the name came about. Like we were in that building that I told you about, Arab Street, right? 48 Arab Street, and like we would have staff that would they were not working, but they would just come to work because they just like hanging out. And we were in a hostel, so we had very interesting guests from all over the world, all into 48 Arab Street. So people wouldn't go out of the building at all. We only go out to get food, go back to the rooftop, and then chill out. So we used to joke that this place really sucked people in. You finish shift at 5 p.m., but you hang around until 3 a.m. in the morning, and then you were like, why am I still doing here? But because your friends are there, your friends from all over the world are there, your colleagues are there, and then it's just a fun place to hang out. So that building really sucked people in. And then when we had to move out of the building, we realized, hey, it's not actually packed to the building. It's not that the building sucked people in. It's just that the ecosystem sucked people in. And then we thought about it, and we realized, like, what is the thing that sucks people in the most, like the most ridiculous gravity. And we realized,
So I want to ask you like a few technical things, right?
yeah, sure,
Uh, about the halal food, halal restaurants. So halal restaurant in Singapore, you have all your establishment, halal certified establishment. So how was the process, and why do you think that is important to have a halal restaurant? I don't know whether it's chain or just a restaurant in Singapore.
What? Sorry. Can you repeat the question? Why is it important to have halal restaurants?
Yeah. Why do you think it is important for the ecosystem to have a halal restaurant in Singapore?
I think, okay. So the population of Muslims in Singapore is actually not that high. I think I would say 15 or less, maybe perhaps 20%. But I think if you study the halal tourism, there's a lot more Muslims traveling around the world, and Singapore being a hub for international travelers, it just makes sense for halal food to be available, right? And actually running halal establishments, right? I think we get a lot of inquiries and bookings, and you'll be surprised actually the people that make the calls to have big group bookings, table of 10, table of 20, or like for catering. Most of them are not Muslims. The people who actually inquire, most of them are not Muslims. They're actually asking on the behalf of their company or on behalf of their friends. And if you understand Singapore enough, right, you realize that Singapore is quite a multicultural um, ecosystem on its own. So people are very not even tolerant. It's even more than tolerant. It feels like we understand each other's life. So the inquiries we get quite interesting, not for Muslims themselves. So if you have a table of 10, and you have just one Muslim in that group, so the inquiry will be like, is it halal? If it's not, then I can't go there because out of the 10 people, there's one Muslim. So yeah,
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, okay.
nice that we had circuit breaker, we had COVID and circuit breaker, so even more that we couldn't expand. So we just kept it tight, but. The exercise has been great because from that we improve our SOP, our systems and processes, our learning and development. So while from the outside it seemed that we didn't expand, but on the inside we actually grew a lot. Yeah. It's just like an adult. It's just like an adult, on the outside, you look the same. You don't look different, but inside your heart gets better and better, right? Yeah. So yeah, so Black Hole Group this year is like that. On the outside, we look the same, but inside we've been polishing our heart and correcting our characteristics and making our character better. And it's not all for fun. It's actually to prepare us for future expansion, not only within the country but across the region. So yeah, my wildest dream is not to have world domination, but to expand this ecosystem in the region and to work closely with my partners in the region as well. Yeah, to have brand presence across the world.
Mhm.
That would be
Okay. Wow. So that is a very insightful conversation, actually. So I learned a lot of new things. So what I learned from Black Hole Group is it's not only about like a food chain, like a food restaurant establishment. It's also about the ecosystem. It's all about the community, about the staff, and how do you see the staff as your main point to grow, right? So
yes,
it's the philosophy that I'm really interested with. So
yes.
it's an insightful conversation. Mus, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. So hope you enjoy your day. Thank you, Mus. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next session.